Welcome to episode 151 of the Knitting Samurai and Her Guys video podcast. I'm your host, Steph, and this is one of maybe the last few times we'll be in the house recording. The house is coming along, and we're looking at a March 1st turnkey, hand the key, whatever, move-in date. So it's getting closer and closer and closer. I'm being joined today, I don't know if you could see him, but this is Linus. Mr. Linus, he is a purring machine, and then Ro is on the floor building with his Legos. So hopefully there won't be too much background noise. And Tristan is upstairs sleeping, and so you get me, and we get to talk about knitting. So let's start off. I don't recall the name of this shawl, and I didn't knit it. Did you knit it? No, he didn't knit it either. But I will link it in the show notes across the bottom.
And not even Mac.
Not even Mac. Not even Mac. But I'll link it across the bottom. I love it. It is with Madeline Tosh and two colors. I don't know those either. But Chrissy, the great from Snappy Stitches, knit it, was displeased with it, and I said, I'll take it, thank you very much. So it has been living with me, and it's a big, beautiful shawl.
Don't say that,
but I'm going to have to take it off to show you my FO this week, which is, see, it's huge. But this week, I have finished my View from the Charles shawl. So this is backwards. So lots of modifications to this. So it isn't exactly a View from the Charles. It's View from the Charles evolved. How about that? The pattern itself is by Jennifer Lassand. I knit mine with Fiber Nymph Dye Works Bounce, Into the World Gloucester, and this is Carth, and this is Turquoise Blue. And then across the top, I used Jill Draper Make Stuff Splendid Sock in the Spinach colorway. So those are the three yarns I use. They're all fingering weight yarns. I knit this on size 6s. And there it is. So first thing I did, I talked about this last time, so I'm just going to kind of speed through it, is I added more increases so that it would be shorter and fatter than the pattern called for. So that's different than the pattern. The stitch pattern is off right here. It's not exactly right. To the lay eye, it doesn't matter. So I left it in. I had told you last time that I love this diagonal lace section. I still love that section. I chose to go with the keyhole. So there's my little stitch marker marking where I was last time, and I did put in the keyhole. And then at about this point right here, the shawl by the pattern would have been done. And I chose to add on this extra wing on this side with the Carth color, and then I added on with the spinach color on that side. I did some knit two togethers to give it some shaping up so it would be a little more angular. Can you see that? I did short rows in through this section right here so that it would, I would have a little bit of width in the arm, I guess is what I'll call it, or the wing, but not adding any more depth to the length of the shawl or to this dimension of the shawl because I didn't want it to be too crazy long. I did the same thing on this side. I haven't blocked it yet, obviously. If I hold it, you can see that they're straight and it goes up at an angle. So that's the short row shaping that did that. And I used the twin stitch for my short row shaping that the Fish Lips Kiss Socks uses. I've played a little bit. How did I do this? With wearing this. I think I went over and under. Yes. So I put it through the keyhole to the back. I really like the addition of the keyhole. I think it adds a lot to the shawl. And it's like tighten it up around my neck. I knit the wings or arm sections thinking more that they would be tucked and hidden. But then once it was done, I turn it this way. Kind of like the way it looks. I think it gives it a nice added dimension. I know my ends hanging are very lovely too. Hope you can't see my pink pajama pants, but I'll show you anyways because I'm just only slightly embarrassed to be wearing pajama pants because it's Saturday morning. Well, it's Saturday noontime. 1 o'clock. Anyway, so Pattern turned out really great. Altogether, I used just over 500 yards of yarn because I weighed everything out. Oh, honey, please don't dump out that box of Legos.
No, I'm not.
Okay. Are you going to dig through it? Because that might be loud.
No, I'm just going to choose what I'm going to need.
Okay. So I used just over 500 yards. I'm excited to wear it. I don't know what I'm going to wear it with. Maybe I'll just wear it as a scarf under my coat, but it was definitely a fun knit and I would recommend it again. I would give it aside from the little mix-up I had that I misunderstood the directions, on a 100-point scale, I would probably give it an 85, 88. Like, I enjoyed knitting it and I would knit it again. I would just like it to be a wider shawl. So, but for what it is, I think it turned out pretty nice, and I do still really like this edge right here between the two colors. I like the way she has that worked. So, I'm going to keep it on for the rest of the show because hopefully it looks okay. Did you notice I got my hair cut this week? I know, I got my hair cut, and as my beautician calls it, my 2 white hairs, I had those dyed. She loves to tease me. Hey, I know there are white hairs in there, and when I part my hair, I can see them. They need to be dyed. Just because they're not everywhere all the time doesn't mean that I don't have a few white hairs. So, oh, Ro, that's really loud. So we all shuffled about, and Ro has now excused himself upstairs, so there will be much less background noise. So I'm sorry about that. What was I saying? Okay. When this was finished, I wanted to cast on another shawl. I was still feeling a bit shawlish, right? So I went out in the garage and I started digging through the sock yarn bins. I have 3 of them that are exclusively sock weight yarns. And I pulled out 5, 6, maybe 7, come here, 7, whoa, there we go, skeins that I thought would be really nice, mostly along the green dimension, because I kind of wanted to use the Jill Draper for another one. But I laid them all out on the couch, and then I flipped my camera over to the grayscale so I could see color saturation, because I'm notoriously bad at pairing colors, you know. It's just not something I'm very good at. So I laid them all out, and the 2 that looked the nicest together were not the 2 that I would have put together, but they looked good in black and white and they looked good in color, so I decided to go for it. To follow my motivation, I gave myself permission to cast on. So I cast on the PHI Pie by Jennifer Dusau, and it's a pretty simple pattern. I'm not sure if I paid for it or not, sorry, but there will be a link in the show notes, and it follows a color transition from gray to mustard to gray on the pattern. That's what it looks like. And it's one of those big, long, triangular, or maybe it's asymmetrical shawls that you just wrap several times around yourself. So I thought that looked like fun. And this is the first skein. This is Lady Man Fiber Arts in Showstopper. It's Man of Mystery, and it's black with pops of like a aqua teal turquoise color in it. It's has lots of depth of color in that one. And I'm sorry I don't have a printed version of the shawl. I didn't print out the pattern. I just hand wrote it down quickly because it's a pretty straightforward pattern. After I did a few rows, I realized, oh yeah, I can memorize this. And the other skein, you remember how Malia, who was Yarn Raising podcast, she used to talk about her special skeins of yarn. Well, this is Into the World, July 2012 Fiber Color Captain Tight Pants Fiber Club. And I have had this skeined, this is a special skein. That's what Malia used to talk about, her special skeins. And to me, this is one of those yarns. I had it in the house and had decided that this was the one I was going to go with, and had actually even cast on before I looked at the label and said, not my Captain Tight Pants. Like, I was afraid. Captain Tight Pants and Timey Wimey are the 2 Into the World Club colors that I'm not knitting with. I've been saving them. And so now I guess I'm not saving Captain Tight Pants. He's been cast on. So this is, and if you don't know what that reference is, it's the Joss Whedon show Serenity. Captain Tight Pants is what one of the characters calls the captain. So he's a little bit uptight. But it's a really good show. And I know it only lasted for 1 season, but Serenity was, no, Serenity was the name of the movie. What was the name of the show? Firefly. Sorry, it's Firefly. It's definitely worth a watch, and it was very sad that the show went off the air when it did. But anyway, so I had been hoarding this, and 4 years after I got it, almost 4 years, I have now cast it on. Yes, I have a well-marinated stash. So here's what I have so far. It reminds me, knitting it reminds me, that's the back, a lot of, well, maybe this is, no, that was the back, of the, starts with an E, Easy, such a hard word to remember, of the Easy Shawl by Martina Bem, but it's going really well. I can see it's going to be huge. I am, you can see, if Linus lets me, carrying my yarn up along the edge, the pattern recommended. She gave more specifics than I actually read. I'm a notoriously bad skimmer. But I am carrying my yarn up the edge. And I like it so far. I like how the dark color, the Man of Mystery, has all this depth in it, but it also is toning down the rainbow. Because as much as I love rainbow, I love knitting with rainbow, I love looking at rainbow, I think that this is one of the most beautiful skeins of yarn ever created. I won't wear it, and so this gives it more of an opportunity, more of a likelihood that I will wear it, because this dark color tones it down so much. So we'll see. When I get to the point where it's majority this color, it might go a little crazy. But in looking at the woman wearing the pattern, right, so the mustard color is more focused in the center, and so that will be, the rainbow will be closer to my face, and then it'll be kind of framed by the dark black turquoise color. So it may be nice, it may not, but I am enjoying knitting it. I'm enjoying knitting it, and I'm using my US 6s 4mm needles, and this base is the Ulandi base, which is 100% superwash merino, and then this, the showstopper, is a 75-25 merino nylon blend. So just so you know the yarns. I'm trying to think, do you have anything else to add, Linus, Mr. Cold Ears? I think that's it on the new shawl, right? The old shawl and the new shawl. It's exciting. I love knitting. Don't you love knitting? I love knitting. I have a little bit of a headache right now, though. So there's that. Let's see. My wander mittens. No love. No love. I'll get back to them. You know I will. But they just haven't been a focus. Just two other things really have been getting my attention this week. And I'm going to go with this one. So in this bag, we find a yoga sock or a pedicure sock. I found the pattern again. Remember I had lost it last time? I found it in another knitting bag. So this is Patent Stretch Sock. You can see the picture, right? It's wear with her flip-flops. I have, so there's my little stitch marker. 2016 year of the stitch markers, or progress keepers. Progress keeper. See, I even have to learn to use the right terminology. Oh, wow. I have a pretty severe fold right there. That'll come out in blocking. No worries. But that's where it was, at the top of the foot in the middle of this blue stripe. And so now I've gone up the leg and started working the heel. I'm a little unsure because it seems strange to me. If I'm knitting a sock that has no toes, it's clearly not a winter sock, right? It's a summer sock. And in the summer, I wear like 1-inch ankle socks if I wear socks at all. I don't like to wear socks. This pattern calls for a 6-inch leg, like 6 inches from the top of this. That's going to be a really big sock for the summer. So I know I definitely want to rib the top of the sock because just doing straight stockinette for a sock is a new concept for me. I don't do that. They fit nice. Her feet, this is for my cousin, and her feet and my feet are the same size. They fit me nice. But I'm not sure they're going to stay up if they're 6 inches tall with straight stockinette and no ribbing to kind of cinch it in. So I'm definitely going to rib. I don't know. I need to put this on my foot. I don't want to disturb Linus, but I need to decide. I may be close to binding off this first sock, or I may be another 3 inches away from binding off this first sock. But it's going well. I really like it. You can see the purple squares, dark purple squares that turn up in, at least I'm poking where they are on this side, turn up in the stockinette stitch. They were broken up quite nicely during the gusset increases. I did a slip stitch heel, and let's look at my heel. It's a nice looking heel. I wish, because there's like the pink teal section, right, when you look at the pattern of the sock itself. So there's one stripe that's like kind of semi-rainbow, right, pink, teal, purple, and then there's the periwinkle and blue section, and then it goes back to the other stripe, and there are like 10 row stripes. I wish I had gotten the blue on the heel flap. I think it would have been prettier than the way this one turned out, but it's fine. I'm just going to shoot for that for the second one. But I'm not going to do any color management, and I don't care if they match, just because they can be fraternal, and that's cool. She'll be happy with them. She'll be happy with anything. She's such a sweet kid. So she's not a kid. She's 20. She's 20. She's 20 and a junior in college? Yeah. She's on an accelerated summer school program thing. So she's doing really well. Anyways, in case you were wondering about my cousin LT, who I love very much. So those are for her. Her birthday's in March, the end of March. So I will definitely have those done for her for that. And I think it'll make a nice little, send some chocolate, put her together a little package of goodies, and send it off, and she'll be pleasantly surprised. Okay, so the last thing I've been working on is not listed on my show notes. Oh, yes, it is. Okay, this is the Modern Tartan Slouch by Talitha Kumai. Talitha is a name of one of... Talitha is from Vikings, and then Talitha is in the Stephen King Dark Tower series, so I just really like seeing that name. I have fun connections to that name. So here's what the pattern looks like. It's from the most recent Knit Scene, and I'm using a mix of yarns that feel just wonderful in my hands. But I have to tell you, even though 2016 is the year of the Progress Keepers, I forgot to put one on this. I know, so I think I was just past the ribbing last time you saw it, so here it is. Did I mention I got a haircut? I think I did, but it might have been during the loud Lego playing, so you might have missed it. But I did get a haircut. See how short it is? I like it. That's about all that changed, though, the length. I told her I needed to look a little more organized. So, but I'm not going to put this hat on, because then it'll pull everything down. But I am knitting with, and I think, so when I close my eyes, I really like the feel of the pink. The pink feels just buttery, squishy, soft in my hand. And knitting with it, it's Fiber Nymph Dye Works Happy Camper. It's been discontinued. It's 100% Superwash Merino Sport, 274 yards. And this is called The Color of Happiness. And I got it in August 2013. It was a club color, because I liked clubs for a while there, but I'm not so much on them anymore. Anyways, I really like this, and I feel bad that I can't recommend it for you to go get it because it's discontinued. But it reminds me a lot in its density and the way it feels knit as Socks That Rock. So if, like the medium weight probably, if you were looking for a comparable, that's what I would knit with to get this beautiful. And maybe I'll go pull out some of my Socks That Rock, because I do have a bit of it. But I'm knitting with that, and then I'm knitting with Knit Pick Swish, Stroll Sport, and what's this one? Stroll Sport as well. Rainforest and Navy, and it might be hard for you to see, but the main color is the navy. Then I've got the pink stripes, which I made a little taller just because the gauge is slightly different between the Knit Picks yarn and the Fiber Nymph Dye Works, so I added 30% more to the pink sections than their counterparts in the other color. It probably doesn't matter to you, but in the end, if I end up, with a hat that's too long, like, because the picture, even though it's called the slouch, is not slouchy. This is not slouchy hat. So if I end up with mine being like bulky and too tall for my head, or I have to roll the brim, you can say it's because you added to the pink sections. But I think I'm going to be okay, because generally, isn't it like, I haven't knit hats in so long. So I'm kind of rolling the dice. dice. Is all that to say that I'm just rolling the dice. So the pattern itself has a technique that I've never done, which was part of the reason why I wanted to jump in and do it. And now I can't see what she calls it. Have you ever used your phone to take a picture of something? Take a picture of a pattern and then you print the pattern? Things get kind of funny colored. Finishing. Okay, so you just crochet in the vertical stripes at the end. But I thought that was fun. So I've done the 2 green stripes. All that to say, I've done the 2 green stripes, and now I just need to work my way back through the top. I am about 3 inches from crown decreases. And then the crown is all knit with the navy, and I'll have a really pretty girly hat. So we'll see if I like wearing it, if it's too loud with the pink, or if I can pull it off. But I'm enjoying it. And so soft and buttery in my hand. And I'm knitting on US size 3s and 5s. 5s right now. 3s for the rib. So that's it. That's what's on my needles. Oh my goodness, guys. Where is time going? It is flying by. Let me tell you. And there's been so much crazy progress on the house this week. The walls to the finished basement family room that we're putting in down there have been sheetrocked and mudded, or whatever they do to like smooth over the holes. So we did that this week. I vacuumed last weekend. I vacuumed all over and around the furnace, and like that unfinished part of the basement. And then we had our oil tank inspected. It leaked in 2 places. So the camera and I are not necessarily the best of friends right now today, but let me just quickly update you on the house. Mom and I were up bright and early, off to Home Depot and Lowe's and Rockingham Electric, and we picked out the light fixtures for the dining room table and over the island in the kitchen, and we picked out the bathroom vanity for upstairs and for downstairs, the medicine cabinets for both, and the light fixtures for both. So yay, that's settled. This week the electrician, let's see, he put in some outlets in places I wanted outlets. He put in recessed lighting in the kitchen, so we have that on dimmer, so that'll be very fancy. The finished basement has been sheetrocked and mudded, so that's exciting. And instead of having 1 light in that space, we now have 4 recessed canister lights, or I don't know how that works, but the ceiling isn't finished. It's going to be a drop ceiling, so that'll be great. We had the oil tank inspection this week, and when they were down there, we were supposed to get 50 gallons put in, but we found that there were 2 leaks. So one of them was an easy repair, and the other one would have been touchy, and no guarantee that it wouldn't have gone. This is a 25-year-old oil tank. So we made the $2,000 investment and now have a new oil tank. And instead of being in an L shape from the furnace, right, at the 2 points, so the furnace is over here and then the oil tank is over here, they are now next to each other on the same wall, and all the piping's new, so that's great. They're reworking the plumbing and the electrical circuits, the fuse box downstairs. So the circuit breaker, the fuse box was here, and then the plumbing in from the street, the big pipe that's really important, was right in front of it. So that's no longer up to code. I don't know if it was even up to code in 91 when the house was built. It looks really sketchy to me. So the fuse box is coming forward and the pipe is going back. And so they're working on that. The plumber and the electrician are both down there doing different things.
Excuse me, Mommy. Can you draw a fin and a bow for me?
I can draw it in just a minute, okay? Let me just finish what I'm saying. So that's it for the house progress. It's going along really well. And here's my big 4.5-year-old who's super helpful and super sweet. He did all kinds of shoveling last weekend in a big snowstorm, right? You shoveled out Kai. He worked really hard. He probably did 1/3 of the driveway in an hour. He and I did the big circle up by the house where you turn your car around. So we have a long, long driveway and a big circle. And we did the big circle together. And he did a lot. And every time he'd slow down, I'd be like, oh, just keep going, honey. Just keep going. I don't remember being that helpful when I was a kid. So he was my hero. So he shoveled out the house. Right?
So Kai could be safe.
Right. So with that, I'm going to leave you and hope that you have a great 10 days or so until we talk again. Enjoy winter as much as you possibly can.
And Mommy, help me Kai shoveling.
Yes, I helped him shovel. That's, yeah. What else have we done at Kai?
And Mommy, help me shovel.
And I helped you. I think you just said that. Can you tell it's pajama Saturday? Mm-hmm. I've been out, come back, and got back in my pajamas. Did you change out of your pajamas yet?
No.
No. Are you and Tris wearing matching pajamas today? Yeah, I love matching pajamas. Okay. We've babbled enough at you. Have a great 10 days or so. We'll see you with more knitting and house renovation talk. Take care. Bye, friends.